Today we have Brendan Sheehan, who plays Yonkers in the Gypsy revival, talking about his journey from college to Broadway. I'm Haley Herman, and this is Broadway Lectures.
That was good.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Brendan.
Hey.
Hey. Welcome to Broadway Lectures.
Thank you.
Yes, everyone, this is Brendan. He plays Yonkers in Gypsy on Broadway. And we're going to learn everything about your journey to get you to Broadway straight from college.
Hell yeah.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Boston Conservatory at the Berklee School of Music.
Are you kidding?
Haley also went there.
I did also go there. When'd you graduate?
2024, last spring, last May.
I did too.
That's crazy.
Are you kidding?
Nope.
We were in class together. We're actually quite good friends, and he's just a star. And Brendan, tell us everything about yourself. Who are you? Where'd you come from? What'd you do? How did you get to where you are today?
I am from New Jersey, specifically Ridgewood, New Jersey. I grew up in a pretty artistic family. Both of my parents were theater performers. My mom was a dancer, and my dad is like a singer and actor. So they met doing Phantom of the Opera at the Majestic Theatre on Broadway. So very full circle that I made my Broadway debut at the Majestic Theatre. And so I kind of like was a part of that world, but I didn't really do theater much until high school because my older sister, who's also a performer, she was a dancer and she did theater. So I started there in high school and really grew to like it. And I briefly went to school in New York for a year. And then I transferred during COVID. I took a gap year during COVID because I didn't want to take classes online. And so I transferred to Boston Conservatory, where I went in as a sophomore. And I went for musical theater, and I had a little emphasis in dance and tap.
Yeah, you did.
And then, that's how I got to Boston Conservatory. It was a nice little journey. I wasn't really much of a dancer growing up. So or really a singer either. So doing musical theater.
And here I am.
Doing musical theater wasn't really a part of my plan initially. I auditioned for a lot of acting programs and then some musical theater programs. And I was choosing between an acting program in Boston University, and then musical theater, Boston Conservatory. And I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was just like, okay, either way, I'm going to get acting training. I might as well learn how to sing and dance as well. And then once I got to school, I just really started honing in on dancing a lot and taking as many dance classes as I could. And then I started doing a lot of auditions for more dancey things, which was a really weird transition. I did not expect to be in that world at all, especially because I didn't grow up doing it. I felt like I was so far behind everyone all the time.
And you're a phenomenal dancer. The whole time I thought you were dancer first, for lack of better words. And then you said, I just started. And I said, you're crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, fantastic.
Thanks.
Yeah. So tell us about your journey from BoCo to Broadway.
Yeah.
You had something in between that as well.
I did. So our school, BoCo, has a showcase where we get to showcase in front of agents, casting directors, managers, whatever. And so I got an audition for the national tour of Funny Girl from Showcase. And I went through that process. I did an audition, and then a month later did a callback. And then a month later I was doing a show in Boston, and I found out that I got the Funny Girl tour. And right as I found out that I got that, I had my first audition for Gypsy. And I got this audition for Gypsy. And I I didn't say this to my agents, but in my head, I was like, guys, I just graduated. And it was for the role of Tulsa in Gypsy. I was like, there's no reason I need to be going in for a principal role on Broadway right now. And I was doing a show in Boston. So I was low-key I have to buy a train ticket. It's kind of expensive.
Please.
Is it worth going? And obviously I did end up going. And so I literally had Funny Girl lined up, and then I did my first audition for Gypsy, and I got a call back, and I went in and did some Tulsa stuff again. After that first callback, I didn't hear anything for a month, and I was getting ready to go on tour with Funny Girl, and maybe I think it was 3 or 4 days before I was supposed to hop on my flight to join Funny Girl in Texas. The Gypsy team was like, can you come in and do another callback? Can you come dance for us? Because they hadn't seen me dance yet. So I went in and I danced for them, and then they had me do the Tulsa stuff again. And then the next day, they're like, can you come back tomorrow? And that day was when I was supposed to fly to Funny Girl in Texas. So I literally went in the morning to Gypsy. I did my final callback for the ensemble by myself. Like no one else was there dancing with me because they knew I had to fly to another show. So they bumped me up and did it earlier than everyone.
So it was just you in the room?
So it was just me in the room, which was
Wait, that's actually
really
that's scary.
It was really scary. And it was me and the two associate choreographers who were the best, and like they like really helped. I mean, like I was just working with them basically one-on-one doing this choreo. And then I did the scenes and I did the songs, whatever. And then right from from Pearl, I went to LaGuardia and flew to Funny Girl. And I learned all of Funny Girl and did my put in for that show. And then we had a 4-week layoff between rehearsals because I joined in between the first and second year.
Gotcha.
So we had a 4-week layoff. And in that layoff, I got the call that I got Gypsy. And so then I had to call Funny Girl. Hey, Funny Girl, shout out if you're watching. Hey. I'm so sorry. And I called them and I said, hey, I can't do your show anymore. I'm so sorry. Because we were starting pre-pro for Gypsy before then. So it was like absolutely the most insane 2 months, 3 months. Because I did my first audition for Gypsy in June and then did my final callback in August and found out I got it like last week of August.
Well, that's incredible. So, Gypsy, tell us. Gypsy is such a legendary show. Yeah, it's a beautiful revival.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
It's such a legendary show. So, having it be my Broadway debut was insane. It was insane. But it comes with a lot of expectations because it's been done so many times and it's such a high regarded show, and the book is so amazing and so many people know the songs. People come to the show and are like, oh, I didn't know I knew 7 of those songs, but I did know them. And so working to build a revival from scratch that, first of all, has never been done in a different way from the original, meaning every time it's been done on Broadway, it's had the same exact direction, the same exact staging, the same exact choreography. It's never had any sort of newness to it, really. And so I think this was revival number 6 or something, like around there. And so getting to do a fully reimagined version of it is really, really cool. But I also think in the world of theater today, a lot of people have expectations about revivals and think that every revival needs to be the opposite of what the original intention of the show was. And that if a show doesn't look or sound like the exact opposite of what it normally does, then it's like, they're like, why are we doing it? Which I think, I understand that. And I think there's validity to that. But I also think it's really important. Like I just said, like I didn't really know Gypsy that much before having the appointment and going through that process. And I know a lot of other people at our age or younger people who are maybe in high school now who are interested in theater don't really know a lot about Gypsy. And I think being able to showcase what an amazing piece of theater it is by itself is really important and really informative because it still has a really strong impact on people.
Yeah.
And so I think it was really interesting in the rehearsal process navigating what that looks like, of making our own version of a show that there's some diehard fans who have their exact vision of what the show needs to be. And like there would be people who like online are like, this specific moment was better in the original. And I'm like, girl,
it's not the original.
It's not the original though. And like if it wasn't, if you didn't have that preconceived notion of it, you wouldn't have a problem with it. It's just that you're like, oh, this one step was I like this better. So I think people get really just opinionated about like, I love this show, so it needs to be this certain way. And I don't know. I think there's always room for everything in it. And I personally, obviously I'm biased, but I feel like Gypsy does a great job of exploring that and staying true to the story, but still adding in new layers that make a whole new group of people feel included in that story.
Yeah. And kind of going off of that, you got to work with Audra and Joy and Jordan and their just experience and life and bringing their perspective to a story.
Yeah.
How is that? How are they? How did that? Yeah.
It was unreal. I mean, I could talk for literally like 2 hours working with Audra McDonald. Audra,
Hey.
I love you. Um, she's, I don't care what anyone, she is the best theater performer that we have, probably of all time, but certainly that we have right now. And so getting to learn from her period and watch her work period was an insane honor. But seeing how personal she made everything, and how much empathy she had for the character of Rose, and how much fight there was as a Black woman in that time was really, really cool to watch, because I think it's a role that a lot of people just see as like this evil monster villain, and to get painted as like she's just yelling the whole time. But like there's so much nuance in what Audra did, in terms of all the layers of race and just like the empathy she had and everything. So I mean, getting to work with her was unreal, and like Jordan and Joy are fabulous. They're so amazing. And watching them navigate not only this beast of a show, but having an insane show on top of all these layers that we're adding in for this new revival, without trying to make it feel like it's very throwing it in your face. I know George, our director, was very intentional that like this is a story that we are just setting in this world. We don't need to slap everyone over the head. We don't need to change the script. We don't need to we don't need to do anything different other than allowing these people to tell the story, which I think was done really masterfully, and really had a lot of subtlety and nuance, which was really amazing to watch.
Coming from the conservatory background and your training, what did you take from school that you brought into the show?
Well, I know for sure something that helped me a lot, especially in terms of auditioning, was there's kind of like a moment during senior year in one of my dance classes where we were doing like a thrashy jazz combo. And my teacher, Michelle Chassé, shout out.
Shout out.
She was just like, okay, like everyone just needs to like, you need to fully throw yourself at this. Like you can't, you just need to have the confidence. And I feel like the confidence was a huge thing. And I just like did that combo, and I was just like letting loose, and I was like, oh, like that is what I need to carry into things I do. I think because like I said before, like I didn't have as much dance training as I would have liked. I always felt very hesitant and very reserved, and I was afraid of looking stupid, so I wouldn't do things. And I felt like senior year, I kind of was able to release that a little bit. And so I felt like when I started auditioning a lot, I was just like, okay, like I'm going to pick up what I can pick up from the audition. Whatever it is, I need to fully throw myself at it. I don't care if I don't know the steps. I don't care if whatever. I just need to fully do it and go all out. So for auditioning, that was huge, I think. And also in general, not feeling like you need to put anything on. I feel like that was just a general thing that I learned throughout my time, of not doing too much.
Yeah.
Of just like, especially like in dance auditions, of just like enjoying the moves and like just dancing it and not feel like you're performing it or putting anything on. And I feel like I just kind of gradually learned that throughout my time. And then during the process, I mean, I got to do scene work with some of like the greatest actors of all time. So just really trusting and staying in the moment and just like feeling spontaneous.
Yeah.
Which is something that you learn, and you like, people say that and you're like, yeah, I know that. But doing it with someone like Audra is really impactful because you see it happening and you see what she evokes in you, and that she always has new spontaneous things it's never the same every single day. So seeing that and kind of being forced to do it alongside her is like really drills that point in.
Yeah, you mentioned before just us talking Garden of Eden and how it was like your first rehearsal day and you just had to get thrown in there.
Yeah.
That goes to show like what Michelle shall say, just go in with confidence. Because
Yeah.
imagine that. You come out of school and then they're like, all right, first day, Garden of Eden.
Yeah, to talk on that, what Haley is talking about is during our audition, we never, if you don't know if you haven't seen the show, you don't know the production, Garden of Eden is towards the end of the show, and it's kind of this like fusion jazz with some modern and some like African, like it's very not musical theater. And I didn't have to do that for my first audition or for any of my auditions. So we got in the room and she was like, all right, shoes off, bare feet. We're doing this dance where we're like crawling around on the ground and and I was like, you hired the wrong guy. Like that's not
Gypsy.
that's not my world. I don't do that. I thought we were doing tap and like
Yep.
I'm not, that's not me. Or it wasn't. And so I was really scared at first. And after the first like 2 or 3 days, I was like, I just have to throw myself at it. Otherwise, if I don't look stupid now, I'm gonna look stupid on stage. And so that was huge for me. I was like, okay, if I embarrass myself in front of these 15 people, so be it. I'd rather embarrass myself now than embarrass myself in front of 2,000 people every night. And so like that's a big thing. I think also like with people who are in college is like being afraid of embarrassing yourself, but like get it out of the way so that you don't look stupid when it actually matters. And so that was really a kind of a turning point in the rehearsal process for me, where I was just like, I remember one day I was just like, she's gonna say improv something and I'm gonna go for it. And there was one time where like Chloe, one of our associates, was like, okay, Brendan. I was like, yes, I did it. And so that was really like I grew a lot during that, because that style was not comfortable for me at all. I would have been terrified to do that at the audition or callback. So that was a moment where I was like, okay, I just need to like throw myself at it and do it.
Yeah. What do you wish college Brendan would have known now that you have done a professional performance like this? What would you tell little Brendan? Or 21
I would tell little Brendan of a year ago, I would tell him that, and this kind of is advice to everyone, but I'm going to say it in the phrase of me. It doesn't matter really how technically talented you are. You can't stress about like, you're never going to be the best one in the room. You're never going to be the best dancer in the room. You're never going to be the best actor in the room. You're never going to be the best singer in the room. That's not going to happen. And so you need to rely on what you do have, and move with confidence in that. And that's what's going to help you book things is just being yourself and not trying to add anything on. Like you just got to do what you're good at and not try and morph yourself to fit anything. Like you just got to do it. And if they like you, they like you, but they're never going to like you if it's not actually you. I would say that previews is the hardest thing you will ever do in your entire life.
How come?
Because you are at the theater. In our case, we were at the theater from like 12 to 4, 12 to 5 every day, making changes to the show and doing choreography changes or staging changes or adding props or changing costumes. And then you have like 2 hours to kill, and then you do that new version of the show that night. Whoa. And so we're like dancing for 4 hours maybe during the day, and then you have a break, and then you're doing the show for 3 hours at night. And that's one, physically incredibly taxing, but two, mentally, like after the first week, my brain was like, dude, I can't fit another version of this show in my head. So I feel like that's like a skill I didn't know I needed to have. I was like to me, the skills that I was like, oh, I really want this is like learning how to swing or something like that. I did not anticipate how hard it is to learn a new version of the show every single day. And then sometimes they would be like, okay, remember this version, we're not doing it tonight. So do the old version tonight, and then tomorrow we'll do the new version. Like things like that, where it's just really mentally taxing.
Right. And 2 questions with that.
Okay.
One is, do you think the training you got at school helped you prepare for that? And 2, did you ever make any mishaps going back and forth?
Yeah. I feel like school prepared me for that? Yes and no. You don't work on that skill directly.
Yeah.
I didn't work on that skill directly. I got to a little bit in like my senior year dance emphasis class of like kind of swing stuff of changing choreography, or like you're in this group now, try this or face a different direction, things like that. But there's nothing like actually doing it. You can't really prepare yourself for that unless you have a class where you're just changing choreography all the time. And so I felt prepared in terms of like the physical aspect, like I was in really good shape, but in terms of the mental aspect, no, I wasn't. I don't think I was prepared for that. And did I make any mistakes? I'm pretty sure all the time. I would assume. I honestly it's all a blur, but I'm sure there was definitely times where I was like, oh, I went into this section of the choreo and that section doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Or I would like look at someone else and be like, I literally don't know what we're doing next. And so yeah, I made mistakes.
Hey, that's
So
okay.
once previews were over, it was like a breath of relief. Like it was so nice.
I'm sure that was.
Yeah.
Just everything's locked in. Did anything change, like post?
No, things
Previews?
can't change after opening night.
Oh,
But things changed in the month of previews.
there you go.
Yeah.
You learn something new every day. I don't know
Yeah.
why I thought otherwise.
No. Or like they're not supposed to change. I
Right.
think sometimes they do, but they're
Right.
not supposed to change.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
And if they change it, that's fine.
That's fine.
Big ol' question for you.
Oh my god.
We want your advice.
Okay.
What do you want to say to the current people auditioning for theater programs?
Okay.
Yeah.
Currently auditioning for theater programs. Kind of the first thing is like the thing that everyone says that I kind of said before is that you really like cannot try to fake your way through anything. Like you can't try and put on something that's not authentic. People can suss that out from miles away. Something that George said to us throughout the rehearsal process and like once we opened and when we on closing night was that yes, we're a group of very talented people, but he wasn't looking for just talent. He wanted people. He wanted to cast people who felt like people, who all kind of had something authentic about them and had a passion and a drive of some sort, that you can just feel when they come on stage. There's just that presence. And that was something that was really like, it's a thing that you hear all the time is like, be yourself, be authentic, whatever. But like hearing it from him, I now like anytime I'm going into an audition, I'm just like, if they can sense me, that's what they need to sense. They don't need to like, if I'm not technically where they want me to be, fine. I can't control that. But if I'm going into an audition room and being like, hi, I'm Brendan Sheehan. It's really nice to see you guys. I'm going to be singing that. Like, oh my God, kill me now. Literally kill me now.
Sure, and that's what sometimes you're taught, and at least in
Yeah.
high school. It's like,
Yeah.
here's your slate, and here's how you do it. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's not.
And it's also becomes like, I would 1,000 times out of 1,000 times would rather watch a messy performer than a technical performer. I think that there's so many people who can be clean technically, but they're so boring to watch. And I think if you don't it's I'm not saying don't have technique. Please have technique. It's great. Have technique. But there's no purpose to it if you're not actually showing something. And so like I don't know. There's a lot of things that I think you can take from like BFA programs that are like in terms of like process and being very clean and very technical. But I think you really have to just throw that away at some point because it's not interesting. Like no one wants to go watch an entertainer who is like very poised and perfect and like that was correct. Like no one wants to watch something that's correct. That's the most boring thing ever. AI, you're not taking over our jobs.
AI, you're not taking.
And so I think it's like really important to do that work and then throw it away. So that's something if you're auditioning, don't try and do a perfect audition. Don't try and do a clean audition. I'm pretty sure, actually, no, I know for a fact, during my Gypsy final callback, I forgot the choreo in multiple sections. And I was just like, okay, like, but if a choreographer or a creative team sees you in an audition and they look at you for 5 seconds and they like what they see, you're getting a callback. It doesn't matter if like 30 seconds later you forgot something. They know that you learned this combo in 20 minutes and you're not expected to do it perfectly. So audition tip, like focus on a section that you just are really showing yourself off and like showing what you can do and hone that in because it's better to have like a 10-second chunk that's amazing because that's what they'll see and they'll be like, great, check, he can do it. And then we'll give him more time to learn at the next round. So that's some audition tips. I just like can't stand really like
The cookie
performers
cutter.
where I see that you worked on it. Like I literally don't care.
Right.
You know,
It's like-
and I don't think anyone does. I think if you think about any of the greatest actors of all time, Audra McDonald, like that like she could have had a very like clean version of any of the songs she did, but she's like screaming her face off. It like she doesn't care. You can tell she doesn't care about what it looks like or what the other people think. She's just doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's hard when you're auditioning. Like it's so easy to say that, to be like, don't care about what they think. But I just think when you care so much about being so perfect, it doesn't feel authentic at all.
Absolutely. And in this industry, it's so easy to focus on the perfect because the mindset of, if I'm not perfect in this, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to do this. But
Yeah.
all wonderful advice of just be yourself, trust that
Yeah.
you know it because the people behind the table know you know it.
Yeah. It also
Yeah.
like this applies not like to singing, acting, and dancing. Like I think all of it, I would way rather watch a dangerous, messy dancer than a clean dancer. Like if you can do 5 pirouettes, no one cares. You're not gonna really do that in a Broadway. Like maybe you'll do it. Like that's not gonna be in an audition.
Mhm.
So no one cares if you're not interesting to watch because no one's gonna be looking at you doing your 5 pirouettes if you're the most boring person to watch ever
Right.
in the world.
Right.
And so like a little anecdote from
Give it.
Gypsy is that when we were in rehearsals and Kevin Solak was learning All I Need Is the Girl with our choreographer Camille, he did like all these pinwheel turns and then had to do like a double pirouette into like he was doing this crazy turn sequence and he got it in rehearsals and we were like, damn, yeah. And Camille went, do 3 instead of 2. And he was like, what?
Huh?
And she was like, it's so much more interesting to watch someone fight for something and watch someone struggle for something. It's way more interesting to watch that than to watch something who knows what they want and has it down because there's no journey in that. It's not exciting at all if you're just like, oh, you did something and it looked easy for you.
Wow. So he did 3 and that was more just because of lack of timing and then it made him push to fight for all 3 or just.
It was literally just like, she was like, I want to see you want it and you work for it more. So he had to do 3. Shout out Kevin.
Shout out Kevin. A little sidetrack segue.
Okay.
Do you remember your college audition?
Oh my God, yeah.
And how is that experience versus post BFA?
Well, I will say I was during COVID, so I did all Zoom auditions.
Oh.
So that was different. Actually, I mean, it's kind of similar. There's so many self-tapes now.
That's true.
I was worse. I was definitely much worse than I am now. I went in like wanting to be more of an actor and like have that be my focus. And so I watch it back and like that's something where I'm like, okay, there's still even like the dance is like, okay, there's so much technique that I gained. But like, and there's definitely, I feel a lot more comfortable as an actor now. And it feels a lot less like planned and forced now than then. But even watching it then, I was like, okay, there is like truth in that. And I think that's like a thing of like acting is a lot more malleable and there's a lot, it's not as rigid as like dance technique or singing technique.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to let it be that way and to not put so much stake into it because like I watched some of those pre-screens and I was like, you can just tell that I'm trying really hard. You can just tell that I'm really trying to impress these people and I want to show them. Which if I'm doing this, like you're naturally gonna be like, okay. But if I'm like laid back and just like doing what I'm doing and showing you, I think there's a huge difference. And so I feel like watching my self-tapes now versus then, that's a huge difference.
I'm sure your parents were huge influences for you coming from that Broadway background. Going into Gypsy or just throughout your training in general, did you have any mentors? Mentors who helped you?
I never had like a mentor who like there's some people who had like mentors who like stayed with them and whatever and things like that. During I think getting into my dancing, my first dance teacher who really was like I had maybe like I'd done some like private ballet lessons with my mom for like when I knew I was gonna audition and I was like I need to learn ballet, but like and did some like hip hop or something as a kid like when I was like 7. Pretty cool.
Videos posted soon.
But I when I started really dancing my senior year of high school, my first dance teacher was Rochelle Rack, who is the associate choreographer for Boop. And she's like a legend. She's awesome, the best. And she really inspired me to dance because I kind of had the mindset of like, I'm too old. There's other people who have been dancing their whole lives. I'm not going to catch up. And she would talk about how when she was in shows, like a lot of the really amazing dancers had started when they were like 19. And so she gave me a lot of confidence, and she was really like my cheerleader throughout, like when I first started taking dance classes and when I was auditioning for college and stuff like that. And it was actually really funny. The day of my final callback of Gypsy, I like went outside of Pearl, in between something or whatever, like right before I went in for the final, and I saw Rochelle like right outside, and I was like, I'm in my final callback for Gypsy right now. And so like I owe a lot to her because she really inspired me to keep going. And then just like throughout college, like I owe so much to all of my teachers. I was really grateful to have a lot of different dance teachers and a lot of different acting teachers, which I think is really important. And then throughout Gypsy, like in more than just the way of learning how to be a performer and what works, I learned so much as a person in Gypsy, because it was like my first time really being in New York independently, first time having a really big job, first time doing the 8 shows a week schedule, like all of these firsts that I didn't really know how to like be a person, be an adult in New York, because like it was so fresh out of college where I was like living with like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so it was really great to have a great group of people. A lot of the guys on my floor in my dressing room were really like, I learned so many different things from so many different people about confidence, as a person, not even just as a performer, confidence and like kindness and being grounded as a person and just taking everything in. And so I learned a lot of different things from everyone in that show.
Nice.
Yeah.
Brendan, final thoughts and feelings and last words of wisdom to all the people watching Broadway
Yeah.
Lectures?
I really think the biggest thing I can say in terms of advice is to just lead with confidence. Really, I think that's a huge thing. I think people can sense that. And know that there's so much that's out of your control in all of these things. There's so many people who work on Broadway and then have 2 years of no job, and then there's no, just because you get told no doesn't mean anything. And I think not I've hammered this home a lot, and I'm going to continue to.
Please.
Not like putting anything on, because that's like literally my least favorite thing. In like seeing, like, I think we're taught by a lot of people of like, okay, you're doing a dance combo now, like that means you have to be like, and like doing all the like, and it's not, it doesn't feel authentic at all. And just like, instead of pretending to enjoy what you're doing, just like enjoy, like just actually enjoy it and enjoy and have fun. And I feel like that's a big thing, is that in musical theater specifically, what gets lost a lot is being real. I feel like there's a lot of feeling like you need to force emotions or force faces or force things or be bigger and show everyone everything and show all this stuff. And like I don't think anyone wants to see that. I don't think that's all like what we go to see. Like the best performers are actually experiencing the things they say they're experiencing. And so I feel like just like relaxing and not feeling like you have to attack everything is really, really important.
Absolutely. You
yeah.
crushed that.
Thanks.
Thank
I
you.
felt like I rambled a lot.
No,
I guess that's the
talking
point.
lecturing.